and welcome back to another video, guys. Now, we got a tie on today. I was going to put on my fancy suit, but it's in the loft and I couldn't be asked to get it down, so tie, which is really poorly done, actually. In fact, I'm just gonna bin it off. But yeah, it's the end of the year video. Today we're talking about my top 10 films of the year. Very exciting. So yeah, first off, apologies about the lighting. It's miserable weather here in the UK. It's actually only just 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so the weather should be lovely, or it should be bright at least, but it's not. And yeah, of course, as per usual, I have to stress, this is just my opinion, this isn't fact, this is just my top 10 films of the year with some honourable mentions. And I haven't seen every film this year. I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen them all. There's been a couple, you know, Come On, starring Joaquin Phoenix, which I haven't seen yet, and a couple others floating about, which I did want to get around to, but just haven't, you know, and I will get around to them, hopefully, but, you know, just not in time for the video, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll do some honourable mentions, and then we'll crack on with the top 10. So, a couple of films I want to give a shout out to here. I've got 6 films here I want to give very quick shout outs to. I'm going to just swivel my chair here so we can see the lovely movie posters. The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's new movie. I was incredibly excited for this. It did not disappoint. It was a beautiful looking movie. Encanto, the new Disney animated movie it's just hit Disney Plus on the 24th of December. You can watch it on there. Great little musical, lots of fantastic music from Lin-Manuel Miranda, and a really charming movie. The Power of the Dog, Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch, a Netflix film. Pretty divisive. I know some people really don't like it. I personally had a fantastic time with this movie. The Last Duel, Ridley Scott's better film of the year. Sorry, there'll be no House of Gucci on this list. Yeah, really interesting film. A Quiet Place Part 2, which was in my top 10 all year, and literally the last couple weeks I've watched a few films which have pushed it out. And just missing out my top 10 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, I was surprised how good this film was. I had a feeling it'd be good. I didn't think it'd be this good. So yeah, and say I've seen about 107 films this year, I think. So these ones have just missed out on the top 10, but they've done incredibly well to get honourable mentions. I think they're great films still, but they're not quite the top 10. Today, we're gonna do them. We're gonna do the top 10 here and now. So coming in 10th place is going to be Dune. That's right. So, yep, Dune did make my top 10. This was an interesting film. I will actually say I was slightly disappointed in this film on first watch. I wanted this to be the masterpiece of the year. I don't think it's quite that. Visually, yeah, it probably is. Visually, this film is incredible. Gorgeous looking. And that's why, you know, it's done so well in my ranking here. I thought this was a really fantastic looking movie. The acting as well was incredible. The cinematography was gorgeous, but the score really blew me away. I've been playing the score constantly. I'd love to get it on vinyl as well at some point. Really fantastic. Where this film did fall a bit flat, though, was pacing. There were big pacing issues. I think the film could have been trimmed down a little bit. And I know that it's it's going to be a 2-part, but I found the ending a little bit too anticlimactic for the scope of what the rest of the film was setting up. So Dune, fantastic movie, really is incredible. I can't wait to get it on 4K and watch it. I've watched it twice, did enjoy it more the second time. I think expectations were so high on first watch. But yeah, it's a really good movie, not quite worthy of the top spots though. Next up, we have a film which was sitting at my number 1 spot for quite a while actually. In the Heights. I love Hamilton. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda and, you know, the stories that he's written and that he's telling now. You know, they've been on stage now, they're finally coming to streaming services and stuff. Like, we had Hamilton last year, 2020. And I'd gone on YouTube and watched some footage from the In the Heights stage production. I really liked it, so I was so excited for this movie. So I went into it a bit biased. I was really ready to watch this movie, and it didn't disappoint. Everything was awesome about it, but I feel like the colour palette wasn't very good. That's the only thing that really let this film down for me, because it's meant to be the hottest summer ever in Washington, and it looked a bit grey at times. That would be my only complaint with this movie. Other than that, The pacing was great. There were some really nice shots in the movie. The songs were fantastic. Maybe the best songs to come out of 2021 in terms of musicals, because there's been some really good musicals this year. Yeah, as I said, we had Encanto as another film we're going to talk about in a minute as well. But yeah, the music in this was fantastic. And yeah, I just really like this film. I've watched it about 5 times. It's such an easy rewatchable one as well. Like it went on Christmas Day. My family loved it. So yeah, In the Heights, great time. Coming in 8th place is going to be James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Also a little bit of a divisive film, I think. Because I've noticed some people really don't like this movie. I think more because of what happens at the end of the movie, because, you know, we get a big monster. Even though this film has a talking shark throughout all of it, so I'm not really sure why people tuned off there. But yeah, this is a massive step up from the first Suicide Squad. Massive. There's actual style to this movie, unlike the first one. You know, you can really feel James Gunn's character bleeding through this movie at times. The characters are so much more interesting. It's not just your main 2 that are interesting. Now the whole cast is, like, the back ones. Polka Dot Man is one of my favourites. King Shark cracked me up. Ratcatcher 2 was great. You know, you've got all these back characters which are just so interesting. And characters did feel more at risk here, as they should in the Suicide Squad, whereas the first one, you very much knew who was going to survive. Whereas here, it did feel like any of them could go at times. The casting for all of them was fantastic as well. Great cast. Really liked a lot of the music choices. The cinematography was gorgeous. The only criticism I really have of the film is I feel like there was just a little down bit at the end of the first act with Harley Quinn, where they'd done a little subplot with her, which I didn't find interesting, pulled me out of the film a bit. But then you go straight back in and it's just, you're back on the ride. And it's a great movie. Coming in 7th place is a film which was on my radar, but I wasn't super excited for, and then I watched it and I fell in love with it. And that is Tick, Tick, Boom, which is also a Netflix original, starring Mr. Andrew Garfield, and is the directing debut of Lin-Manuel Miranda. There's his name again. He's had an incredible year. I love this man. So, of course, you know, I think a few people already know this story, and it's really sad, of course, being based on the true events, but you know, it is something that needs to be touched on. I think it's important to show how hard some people work in Hollywood and how they have to get their foot in the door, even here with like a Broadway stage, you know, production type thing. It's just fascinating to watch, I think. And on top of that, you've got some of the best acting of the year in this. Andrew Garfield has to be going up for Best Actor, right? I mean, he's got to be. And the music is just incredible. The music is incredible. No More and Therapy have been just on my playlist like constantly lately. Such a great movie. I don't have enough good things to say about Tick, Tick, Boom. And to be honest, at this point in my ranking, this is where I have like no complaints with these movies. Like, Tick, Tick, Boom was pretty perfect, to be honest. I really don't have a bad thing to say about it. Incredible film. Coming in 6th place is one I actually rewatched last night. So it didn't move about on my ranking, but I'm very, very fresh off this movie. But I watched it when it came out. I watched it about a month ago, and I watched it last night. It's Disney Pixar's Luca. Yes, Luca. My favourite animated film of 2021. Yeah, this film has so much heart to it. It's fantastic. Also, I want to say the best animation of the year. But The Mitchells versus the Machines was also incredible. But I kind of love the animation style to this one. It's very newspaper comic booky, and I think I spoke on this when I reviewed the film, how I love the way that their mouths kind of do like what Peanuts comic strips do, and what like Garfield comics do, where their mouths would sort of like float up their faces and stuff. I love the style of animation in this one. It's just so much more interesting than like animation we got in like Onward, for example, recently from Pixar. It just has a bit more, gives the film a bit more character. But the film itself, I love exploring different cultures in movies. I think that's why I love things like Coco and Moana. So yeah, I thought that I loved seeing the different culture here, of course it being Italy. And yeah, just some fantastic character work. Fantastic character work. Actually, had a tear in my eye last night when I was watching it at the end. And yeah, just brilliant voice acted as well from the cast. Yeah, I love Luca. Fantastic movie. Coming in 5th place, it's rare I say this, but this is one of the few remakes I prefer to the original, and that is West Side Story. Yes, Steven Spielberg finally has a new film out. It's been a while. Was the last one The Post, or was it Ready Player One? It was one of them. But neither of those went over particularly well. I mean, they went over okay, but, you know, Spielberg's back. Surely he's going to be at the Oscars. This film's got to be going up for some stuff. So I'll say, yeah, I like the original West Side Story, I do, but it's never been one of my personal favourite musicals. I mean, I tell a lie, I watched it for the first time properly this year, but it doesn't stand out as one of my favourite musicals personally. I know some people love it. Fair enough to you guys, but for me, not one of my personal favourite musicals, so... You know, in terms of the songs here that we're seeing, again, the songs in this aren't as catchy for me as Tick Tick Boom or In the Heights or even Encanto, which is a bit weird because my favourite era of music is 60s and 70s, so you'd think I'd prefer this. But I don't find the songs in here as catchy. But what I love about this movie is the set designs I thought were fantastic, like incredible in fact. I love the cinematography in this movie, it's beautiful. And a lot of the colour grading throughout the movie I thought was just so great. It really made me feel like they'd gone back to the 60s with modern day cameras to make this movie, which really, really blew me away. There's some weird decisions with characters in this, but I don't really fault the film for it because the original also had these weird decisions with characters, which I don't 100% agree with. So I don't really fault the film too much for that. This film is really, really great. I can't wait to rewatch it. Yeah, probably the best musical of the year. I think it's the best musical movie of the year. Saying that, I would personally rather... I think I'd rather go back to Tick Tick Boom or In the Heights with the music itself. But for movie, this one was fantastic. West Side Story, fantastic. Coming in 4th place... I think you guys have probably been waiting for me to talk about this one because you know I loved it. You know, I'm a big Marvel fan. SpiderMan No Way Home. I did not think this would be in my top 10. I did not. No. I was very excited for this film. This is the most hyped I've been all year for a movie. But, you know, I figured they're dealing with loads of villains. You've got Doctor Strange in here. You've got the whole subplot of everyone knowing who Peter Parker is, which was left as the cliffhanger from Far From Home. And, you know, God knows what else could have happened in this movie. And a lot of other stuff did, so I thought it was going to be messy. And you know what? It really wasn't. It was a very tidy film for everything they were juggling. Yeah, on a technical level, is this film great? No. Like, West Side Story, Luca, Tick Tick Boom, The Suicide Squad, Dune, and maybe even In the Heights are probably technically better made movies than this one. But for me, I like to separate my thoughts on movies as, you know, a good movie, a well-made movie, and how entertaining was it. Those both play massive factors. And for me, Spider-Man was through the roof on entertainment. If I was ranking films purely on entertainment, Spider-Man would be number 1 on this list. This film was so entertaining. It was incredibly fun. Yeah, as I say, there are a few technical issues. Like the first time you see Willem Dafoe, there's no panning up to him. It's just like you're locked onto his face. So there's some weird decisions like that, but I think that's all down to Mark Webb being a pretty kind of he's a good director, I do like him, but more on the standard level of directing. But you know, in terms of entertainment, I'd say the film had a lot to do, and it juggled it all really well. The pacing was great, the characters were great, the plot was so fun. At no times did I feel like we were going too fast with the plot or going too slow. There was fan service, but it was fan service done right, unlike The Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, I got a lot of credit for this film. It had so much to do, so much to juggle, and it pulled it all off, being an incredibly entertaining movie. Yeah, and it cemented that Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Good job, Marvel. Good job, Kevin Feige. Good job, all of you involved. Fantastic film. Coming in 3rd place, though, is going to be King Richard. That's right, a film. Now, I actually like tennis. It's one of the few sports I watch, only really when it's Wimbledon, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, of course, every year I watch the Williams sisters play tennis. So when this film got announced, I was interested. I was like, yeah. They said Will Smith was going to be playing their dad, which I thought was an interesting casting choice. I know Will Smith can be really good when he wants to be. Sometimes he can be a bit much for me, so I was wondering what way this film was going to go, but as you could tell, it went very well. Will Smith gives the best performance of the year for male actors, I think. I think if he doesn't get Best Actor, I'm going to be very surprised. He was so good in this movie. Incredible. And yeah, again, I really, even though, like I say, I like tennis, it's not something I really dive deep into. So it was an interesting story for me because I didn't know much about their upbringing. So I thought it was just fascinating, this movie. And on top of that, as I say, you've got incredible performances, not just from Will Smith. John Barnthorpe was also fantastic in this movie. A lot of other actors giving really good performances on the side as well. Yeah, just you know, all-round great stuff from the filmmaking-wise as well. The cinematography was great. I think maybe the score could have been a bit more interesting. But, you know, just some real gut-wrenching moments. Really, really great film here. Coming in second place is going to be a film I was not really excited for at all. And that's Spencer. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Royals, personally. I don't have anything against them too much. But they're not something that interests me, like modern-day Royals, at least. You know, I like, you know, going back to the Tudor times and stuff. But modern-day Royals, you know, I'm not interested too much. Diana, you know, she died before I was born, so she's never been someone I've been hugely interested in either, to be honest. So, yeah, I wasn't particularly too interested in this movie. But, yeah, I watched it, and bloody hell, what a movie. So, first off, Kristen Stewart, wow. Wow. Okay, I knew that she could give good performances. I didn't think she had this in her. This is fantastic. And again, if she doesn't get Best Actress... so you can tell this film is filmed on film. It looks gorgeous. It looks like it's filmed in the 90s. The cinematography is so good in this. But again, the score. Oh, the score in this movie was incredible. And I love the fact that it was set over a 3-day period and not just a bog standard biopic, because we get so many bog standard biopics now. You know, we're getting like 3 or 4 a year. It's like, here's a biopic on this guy or this rock star or this family. You know, it's nice to get one that's set 3 days. It's just a mental time, and I think it gives the director and the actors a lot more freedom with the movie itself. And also, I really was expecting this film to be quite boring, and it really wasn't that. And there was some hints of some horror elements with her being haunted by Anne Boleyn, which I thought was fascinating direction to go. In terms of filmmaking, this is probably the best film I've seen this year. But in number one, because in terms of filmmaking and entertainment, this film had the best balance for me. I feel like this film here was so entertaining and also so well made. And it really caught me off guard. I've only seen it the once in cinema. I can't wait to rewatch it. I've got the 4K on pre-order, and I'm buzzing to rewatch it. And I think this is the first time I've put this director at number one, because I love all of his other movies, but I don't think they've ever quite hit the number one spot. But this year, Last Night in Soho from Mr. Edgar Wright is my number one film of the year. I love this. Is it his best film? No, I actually don't think it is. But is it his worst? No, absolutely not. I think it falls around the middle of the Edgar Wright pack. But there are just so many things I love about this movie. First off, the sets and stuff, especially when we were in the 60s, was fantastic. One of the sets which I loved, which we see in the trailer, is when she's going into the theatre in London, in the Soho area. You can see Thunderball playing. It's just brilliant. The actors, you know, Thomas and Mackenzie, I think her name is, smashed this film. She was so good in it. Absolutely incredible. Best performance I've seen her give. Anya Taylor-Joy was fantastic in this movie. Matt Smith, it's just always a pleasure to see that man. I love him. Just so many good actors in this movie, giving great performances. As I said, the cinematography was great. The score and the song choices, perfect. The twists and turns in the plot were fantastic. And, you know, I just loved the pacing of this movie as well. There was not a moment where I felt like I was getting bored or lost in the movie. It was just so well told to you, the audience. I thought it was fascinating. For me, also, it's filmed in an area where I work a lot, so it was kind of cool when she was running about Soho Square, going, been there, parked there, done that there, boom, boom, boom. So stuff like that was really fun on a personal level for me. Yeah, I think this film just had the best mixture this year of great filmmaking and just solid entertainment. I think that, yeah, really, really fantastic film last night in Soho. So, yeah. Here we go. There's my ranking of my top 10 films of 2021. So, tomorrow is New Year's Day. Oh, no, it's New Year's Eve even tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to rank my TV shows of 2021. And then, hopefully, New Year's Day, I'm probably going to be hungover, let's face it. It's New Year's Day. But maybe on the second or the third, I'm going to rank every movie I've seen this year. So we're going to go all the way from my least favourite, which is like, as I said, I've seen about 107 films, I think, or something like that. I want to try and see Kingsman at cinema, so that's in the list. So yeah, but we're going to rank them all. So there's a couple more rankings still to come, guys. And my end of the month video, which I've got to try and squeeze in at some point. But anyway, there we are. Thank you so much for watching as always, guys. Hope you had a great year, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video, probably. Thank you so much for watching as always, guys. Bye-bye.